Okay, guys, so we have been dealing with tints and more tints, which, if you figured out by now, is any color with white. Now we're going to switch it up and we're going to work with shades. Now, shades, just like standing under a tree when it's darker, in the shade, we are making a color darker by adding black. For this particular project, it is going to be monochromatic, which means one base color. That base color is going to be white. This is a black and white project. Okay, so essentially what we're doing is we're making shades of white by adding black to it. If this was blue, adding black would give you a shade of blue. Okay, shades are anything that has a color mixed with black. So you're not going to need the pink quite yet. You have some other things to set up for this project beforehand. You should have a cardboard, real hard, with 4 equal squares drawn on it. And then you should have 4 squares of cardstock. And most of them have some lines and stuff on the back because I recycled from another thing I was doing. You're also going to need a length of tape, 2 brushes, and a pencil. First thing you're going to do, and gray paper. First thing you're going to do, write your name on the gray paper. First and last name, please. And your table color. Okay, whatever it might be. Next, you need to attach these 4 squares to the gray paper because when we go to paint, if you don't, they like to curl up, and that's no bueno. So what you want to do is rip yourself, watch, I'm doing this, pinch, pull, okay? And you're going to make yourself some tape donuts to hold them down. These tape donuts, as you can see right here, are sticky all the way around. So you just stick them on there, just like you would hang something on a wall using tape. And this can be a bit of a pain, but it's going to make our project work. So once you get 4 on there, just stick it somewhere away from the edge of the gray paper, and you're good. So you can go ahead and take care of doing all 4 of these cards onto the gray paper. You can also put 4 tape donuts on this thing too. All right, so I've got everything attached to my gray paper. I got my name on it, my table color on it. Now you're going to be using 2 brushes for this project. Our little fella is our mixing brush. Our chisel-headed or flat-ended brush is for us to do our work. So what you want to do here, you need to make our first shade. So I'm going to take just a tiny bit of white at the very end, or I'm sorry, black, at the very end of the brush. You can kind of see it there. Don't get a whole brush full, just a little bit. And you're going to start working that into the white. And it should just change the white a little bit. And you want to keep mixing this until you see no black or dark gray streaks in it. And there you have it. So it's just a tiny bit darker. I'm going to get some of this excess paint off of my brush either by using one of the other wells or the edge of this well. This is mixed pretty well. All right. So I'm going to plop that on a paper towel. I'm going to grab my fancy brush. I'm not going to load it up too much. Okay. I want just a little bit of paint like that. Okay. And I am going to paint one of these squares and one of these squares with it. Now, my camera is not the greatest camera in the world, but you should be able to see the difference between where I painted and where I didn't. You can also tell that I probably gave you way too much paint for this project, but that's okay. So this part of it is easy. Get a nice even coat of the gray on there. Cover the whole card. brush out any blobs or globs. And you can see it's trying to curl a little bit already. So thank goodness we got that tape on there to help prevent that. Now the hard part of this, and part of your grade, now you're going to have to go in here and you're going to paint one of these squares. And I want you to use this brush the way it was intended. Okay, if you look at the nice thing about chisel-headed brushes is they have a nice flat end to them. Your goal at this stage of the project, again, we're brushing out our paint, completely filling the square with it. Your goal is neatness, okay? And showing me that you can make 4 different shades. So I like using the edge of my brush right along the black line. Try not to cover the black line up. That is why I got you these nice flat brushes. Now, once you get to a spot where you think it's going to be awkward to try and stay on the line, you know, guys, you can just turn your paper and take advantage of the brush. And voila, you have your first shade of white in that square. Next up, you're going to go back to your mixing brush, maybe clean it off a little bit on your paper towel or whatever so there's not so much paint on it, okay? And you're going to get about half a brush full this time, maybe a little bit more, okay? And you're going to mix it in there. You should see this gray get instantly darker. Keep mixing and mixing and mixing until you can't see any light gray anymore. Get excess paint off of there. I still see a lot of streaks in there, so I'm going to keep mixing. And I just dripped a little paint on here, so I know I'm going to have to use this particular shade here. Okay, so I'm going to paint one of those with this. Sorry, wrong brush. I'm going to paint one of those with this and another square with this shade that we made. Now, if I put these next to one another, should see a very subtle difference in how dark they are. Oh, see, I just covered up my line. Please take your time not to do that. Okay, and you can instantly tell the difference between these two. Okay, so you're going to paint that square and one of your little card squares. Then you're going to add more black to this, mix it all up, do it again. And then for the last one, we're going to switch it up. Okay, for the very last one, okay, you're actually going to take a good brush full of this gray that we've made. All right, yours will be a little bit darker because it's after the third step. And I want you to try mixing it into the black and see what happens. And if it doesn't change the black at all, okay, clean off the brush a little bit, get some more. Try mixing it in. Okay, and keep doing that until you have a very, very dark shade of gray. And you're going to use that in your last square on your cardboard and on your cardstock. And that's it for today.